Hello, good morning. How is everybody doing today? Okay, let me. Okay, in today's Blackboard webinar, we're going to be talking about the Blackboard assessment options. Um, and let's begin our presentation. Blackboard assessment features provide instructors with tools for building online assessments using different question type. This assessment can provide students with immediate feedback and are automatically graded, with the exception of essay questions or file responses. Those would be the ones that students will have to add an attachment, a file attachment. So those type of questions will not automatically be graded. But for all of those questions that are automatically graded, scores will be able through the grade center of the course. Blackboard offers basically two assessment options that you can use as instructors. These are tests and surveys. Tests are created to check the knowledge and skill level of students enrolled into the course. The test options allow the instructors to assign point value and feedback to each question. And when a student completes a test and it is submitted for grading, the results are recorded into the grade center automatically. The other type of assessment is surveys. Surveys are useful for polling purposes, evaluations, and random checks of knowledge. They function in the same way as tests and offer most of the same options. Surveys cannot give feedback to the user. They cannot be graded. There are no points available, or you cannot associate any grade with a survey, nor will a name be associated with a submitted survey. So they surveys will be anonymous. The online grade center will reflect that the survey has been taken and submitted by issuing a check mark next to the username. So let's go into Blackboard and let's take a test as a student. First, let me go to Blackboard. And I'm going to log in as a student. I have a test user. So I'm going to log in as a student. And we're going to go to this course. This is where I just posted um, a test. So there's an announcement. As a student, I'm able to see that there's an announcement. The following test has been made available in test. So I'm going to go to test, the content area, and I'm going to click on the link. As a student, remember, this is the student view. This is how the students are going to be able to see um, the tests that you create and make available for them. So I'm able to see the instructions, the description. This is the first test that we'll be reviewing during the webinar. There's the instruction. Please respond to each question accurately. This is a time test. You will have a limit of 30 minutes. These are options that you as instructors are able to set up when you deploy the test. This test will be saved and submitted automatically when the time expires. When the time limit comes up, the test will be saved and submitted. Once started, this test must be completed in one sitting. I, as a student, will have to respond all the questions during one sitting, and do not leave the test before clicking save and submit. So the students need to submit um, all of their answers, right? So I'm gonna click the begin button, and this is the test that I have created. I'm able to see the description again, instruction, the time test. This is a time test. I don't have multiple attempts, and here is where I'm able to see the timer. Right now I have 29 minutes and 40 seconds remaining time. And let's start. I set up this test um, to be displaying one question at a time. So let's begin. What day of the week is today? Okay, let's say Tuesday. I can save the answer and move to the next one. Right now, we're in the middle of January. This is a true or false question. Let's say it is true. Let's move to the next one. What is your instructor's name? Okay, Arturo. Let's go to the next one. I'm able, because I set it up, that the students can go to the previous question, but those are things that you can set up while you are setting up your test. Question number 4 is an ordering type of question. So please put in order the following months accordingly to a yearly calendar. So let's see. First, we'll have to go March, then would have to be July, then September, and last October, right? Let's move on. Question number 5. Please indicate the month in which each of these events occur. Okay, let's say Halloween occurs in December, no, in October. President Day, it's in February, so it will be E. New Year's Eve occurs in December, last day of December. The start of the fall semester would be August, and Mother's Day would be May. Okay, let's move on to the question number 6. This is an essay. Please write a 4-paragraph answer about your favorite season of the year. Okay, so I will have to write as a student what my instructor said, asking me to do, 4 paragraphs. Let's save the answer and move forward to question number 7. Please submit as an attachment to this item your Word file with all of the issues you have found while doing this month's assignments. Okay, so I will have to browse and look for the file that I want to add as an attachment, because that this is a file response type of question. So students can uh, send you a file as an attachment also on a test. And last, this is the last question that I have set up in this initial test, and this is a hotspot. So we can include images where students need to click something. On this one, it says, on the following image, please click on the correct spot that correspond to the foundation for success in anything, whether it's business, science, sports, healthcare, arts, or life. And this is the 8 traits that lead to great success. So let's say that passion, right? When I click, it will be save that information. So let's save and submit. I'm done with the test. The test submission confirmation. Let's click. And I, as a student, I'm able to see that I submitted the test number 1. And when I started the test, when it was submitted, the due date, the time used, I used 3 minutes out of 30. And let's click OK. This is what I can see as a student. after I have done the test, I'm able to see the questions. I'm able to see all the possible answers. I'm able to see what was my response and what was the correct answer for that question. And I am also able to see the feedback that the instructor set up for this one, right? So in the first one, I selected that it was Tuesday, and it is wrong. The correct answer was Wednesday, and I'm able to see the feedback that that is incorrect. Today is the third day of the week, so that would have been Wednesday. Question number two. I selected that it was true, so no, that's false. So that's incorrect. January is long gone by. We are even past Valentine's Day, so that's false. I should have answered right. So I'm able to see that in the fill-in response, the instructor's name was Arturo, so it contains Arturo, so that's correct. Your instructor full name is Arturo Javier Colescutia. And then I'm able to see the matching, the ordering, the essay. You can see that it needs grading. The question 7, it's the file response, also needs grading. And the question 8, I had 10 out of 10 possible points, right? So as you can see, there are several questions that are automatically graded, except some of them, like the short answers, the essays, and the file responses, need the instructors to go and grade those questions, right? So when we go, if I go as a student again and try to take the test, so this was just set up that the student was able just to take one time the test. So I'm able to see as a student that I completed the test and the date and time, right? And if I click the view all attempts, I'm able to see um, all the information that I just show you. So this is how students see, how students take the test, how the students see the automatically graded uh, answers that they have. And if I was able to take the test again, I would go and see that, right? So let's go back. Let's go back to the presentation. Give me just a moment, please. So you can create tests and surveys and then deploy them in a course content area. And you can assign points to test questions for grading evaluation. But remember that surveys questions are not scored. Surveys are ungradable. Please take into consideration when you create an assessment, you need to answer yourself, is this going to be a test or a survey? Are special instructions needed? How many questions am I going to include in the test or in the survey? What type of questions am I going to include in the test that I'm going to create? You also need to ask yourself for tests, what is the point value associated with each question? Will partial credit be acceptable for some or all the test questions? And are some of the test questions very difficult and may count as extra credit? Yes or no? Because we can also set up questions to count as extra credit. And when you create tests on Blackboard, remember that first you will need to build a test or survey. Tests and surveys are deployed to students by adding them to a content area of the course. And once added to a content area, test and survey properties, such as availability and presentation options, are managed right there. So let's go back to Blackboard and let's build a content. Let's go to Blackboard. I'm in Blackboard again. So I'm gonna log out as a student and I'm gonna log in as instructor. I'm gonna go to my course, Blackboard test, and let's build a test. Make sure that the edit mode button is set to on. This is the button located in the upper right area of the main display screen. And let's go to the content area where we want to uh, create the test. So I'm gonna go. I have a content area that's named or titled test, and I'm gonna go to assessments and let's create a test. I'm gonna create a new test because I don't have an existing test available to deploy. So I'm gonna click the create button, and we need to type in a name. So this is a required field. Let's put this will be test number 2. I can um, I can add in a description for our test. The description should explain the type of assessment, the content covered, indicate the type of question used, and give the approximate time it should take to complete the assessment. So we would put all the description there. We can also type in the instructions for the test. These instructions will be similar to those you might include in a pen and paper test. So this would be the instructions, and just we would click the submit button. And now we're in the test canvas screen. So this is where we would have to add all of our questions. We need to click the first of all, before we create questions and add question to our test canvas, we can set up the question settings on the top right corner. We can select if we want to provide feedback for individual answers, yes or no. We can select this checkbox if we want to include the option to attach images, files, and outside web links to questions and to answers. That's available to you. If we want to add question metadata, that's more information about metadata. This option also enables instructors to add keywords to questions when searching questions from a question pool or other tests. Instructors may search for questions by category or keyword, so that's available if you want to. You can also specify the default points when creating questions. By default, the point value is 10, but let's say that I'm going to create a 20 question test. So that would be the default would be 5 points per question. In this example, I'm gonna do just a 2 question test. So the default point will be 50. We can specify partial credit options for answers if we want to. So these are just some of the general question settings that we can set up for all of the questions in that test in particular, right? So let's go to create a question, the create question drop down menu, and select the question type. So there are several type of questions that we can add in a Blackboard test. Let's say that I want to add a multiple choice question. I just select that one, and we can add a title is optional if you want to, but then we get the question text. So let's add what day is today. That's the question text, and then You will get the options available for that type of questions. Do I want the possible answers numbered? Yes or no? And we can use Arabic numerals, Roman numerals, upper letters or lowercase letters. And we want them to be vertical, presented vertical or horizontal way? And these are the possible answers. So there's 7 days in a week, so I'm gonna use 7 possible answers. By default, you get 4, but you can change that up to 20. So let's say Monday, I'm writing all the possible answers. So I think would be Tuesday. This is the individual response feedback. Thursday, and then we would go to Friday is the answer number 5. Saturday, the answer is 6, and Sunday is the answer 7. And let's go back to the answer Wednesday is the correct one. So we need to select this one as the correct one, right? And we can also leave individual feedback by answer or by questions, right? So this would the correct response feedback if we want to, and the incorrect, you're incorrect, etc. And submit. So I just created a question in my test, right? So test number 2 is already created when I submit it. So let's go back to uh, my presentation. And let's see, I just created a Blackboard test. And remember, when you create a Blackboard test, you will get the canvas where you would add all of the questions that you need to include in the test. Um, Blackboard offers instructors several different type of questions to use in creating an online assessments. All of the points, all of the options, with the exception of the short answer, essay, 5 response questions are graded automatically, as I told you before. These questions require an instructors to read and evaluate the individual answers for all of them. Right. So let's see some of the most frequently used question options available in Blackboard are multiple choice, the one that I just showed you and that I created. So in multiple choice, when an instructors create a multiple choice questions, users indicate the correct answer by selecting a radio button. And remember that the number of possible answers must be between 4 and 20. You can also use the true or false type of question. When an instructor create a true or false questions, students will indicate their answer by selecting the radio button that correspond with either true or false. These type of answers are limited to the words true and false, so you cannot uh, change true or false, right? Additional text is not permitted on these type of answers. Then would you another type of frequently used question is the short answer or essays. When using the short answer or essay questions, students will view a question or a statement and are given the opportunity to type or either cut and paste from Word, for example, their answer into a text field. Sample essays can be added as feedback for user access after the exam. If sample essays are provided for an essay, user will see the answer upon submitting the assessment. Keep in mind that these type of questions must be graded manually. The matching questions provide 2 columns for users to match appropriately, like the one that I created for which month correspond to each one of the events. Each pair must be matched correctly to gain points for the questions. The ordering questions require users to put answers in the correct order. The entire order must be properly ordered to gain points for the questions. Multiple answers questions allow users to choose more than one answer to a question. All answers that are designated as correct by the instructor must be selected to gain points for the questions. We'll also get the fill in the blank possible type of questions. Um, These are evaluated through an exact text match. Therefore, it is important to keep the answers simple and limited as few words as possible. Blackboard provides advice to consider as when you create fill in the blank questions. For example, uh, provide answers that allow for common spelling errors. Also, please provide answers that allow for abbreviations or partial answers. For example, um, Ben Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Mr. B. Franklin, or just Franklin would be considered as correct answers, right? Create the question that indicates to student the best way to answer the question, and keep answers limited to one or two words to avoid mismatched answers due to extra spaces or order of answer terms. Another type of question that you can add is the file response. Um, the file response questions require students to upload a file from their computer as the answer to the question. This type of question is graded manually, and it enables students to work on something before a test and submit it with a test, particularly if it requires a large amount of text. Submitting the answer this way will also allows you as instructors to download, review, and assess the submission without an active internet connection. Although you will still need to access the grade center to assign a grade to these um, answers. And please, it is important to consider that you cannot add file responses questions to surveys. These are just available for tests and quizzes. And another type of question that is available for you is the hotspot, as the one that I show you. With hotspot questions, students are presented with an image and are asked to select a particular area. Some example of hotspot questions are, for example, in an anatomy course, they could locate different parts of the body. In a geography course, they could locate areas on a map. In a foreign language course, students could select different articles of clothing and just be creative on the type of questions that you can use um, for hotspot using images. Remember that hotspot questions are graded automatically, and note that you have to have the image file ready before you create the question. Although there are no limitations, take into consideration the size of the image and make adjustments using an image editing application before uploading the file. Once you're finished building the test and you're ready for your students to see it, you're ready to deploy. So deploying the test makes it accessible to students. So let's go back to Blackboard and let's deploy the test. So once you create a test, you need to deploy it. And this is what we are doing. We're going to deploy the test in a specific content area. So we build the test, and now we need to deploy the test. We need to locate the content area in which we want to deploy the test, such, for example, as test or an assignment. Remember that um, course content areas can be added by clicking on the green plus sign button right here on the top left of the menu bar. If you're using folders inside your content area, click once on the name of the folder that you want to add the test to. So let's submit, and now we will get all the test options available for you that you when you want to deploy the test. Um, do you want to show the test description to students before they take this test? Yes or no? Do you want to show the instructions? Yes or no? These are the test availability options for you. Let's make the link available. And I do want to add a new announcement. I want I will let students take multiple attempts, but they will have, let's say that they will have up to 5 attempts at taking the test. If I don't want to give them multiple attempts, let's not check these options, right? So I'm gonna make these 5 attempts. I'm gonna force completion. I'm gonna set the timer to 50 minutes. Auto submit will be on. So this means that the test will save and submit automatically when time expires. If we don't want to auto submit the test, then we can set it to off. That way, the user is given the option to continue after time expires. And we can set until when it will be available or not. We can also set up a password if we want to. Um, this option requires students to enter a password before accessing the test, and this is used mostly in proctored testing conditions, or if you just want to give a student before the rest of them, just give the student a password. And we can set up exceptions if we want to, and due dates. And we want to include the test in the grade center score calculations. And after submission, I want to students be able to see their scores. They will be able to see the answers. They want no, I don't want to see them all the answers. I just want to show them what they submitted and the feedback for them. So all of these options are available for you as instructors when you set up the test. On number 7 is the test presentation options. We can make them. We can set up the quiz or the test to show all the questions at once, or have them one at a time, as I did on the test that we saw. And we can prohibit backtracking if we want the students not to be able to go to the previous question or not. And we can also randomize questions. This will help this will make more difficult for students to share their answers, right? And when I click submit, the link for the test will be available, because that's how we set it up to be. So let's go back to the presentation. Remember that after a test or survey is added to a content area, the test options or survey options page appear. You can view and grade tests submitted by students in the Grade Center, and tests and surveys submitted by students may not be viewed or graded from the content area where they are deployed. Um, let me go to. Okay, does anybody have a question? I think time is up. Probably in another session, we will see the survey manager and the pool manager. You can use the pool manager. So we just saw how you can create a test and how to deploy the test um, in a content area of the course. And we also saw the student's perspective, the student experience of taking a test. Does anybody has a question or a comment about it?
Um, I do. This is
Edwidge?
yes,
Hi,
yes.
Edwidge.
Hi, Arturo. How are you? This was great as usual. You had while speaking, you mentioned something about without internet connection.
Yes.
What was that again? I kind of missed what was that? If you can elaborate a little bit.
Yes, that option is available when you set up file responses type of questions, so that the students will submit a file as the answer for that question, and that way you will be able to download all the file that the student submitted, and that will work without internet connection. So, so
Dad.
that way you will be able to read all the files that the students. Um, okay, there's somebody with a kid around because we are hearing a baby over
Mhm.
there. But that's when you will be using file responses, at which you will be able to download all the files that the student submitted for that question. You will be able to work reviewing those files without internet connection. But once you are ready to grade the answers that the students gave you, you will need to access Blackboard with the internet connection.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Does anybody has another question? Okay, if not, let's close this webinar session. I'll thank you, and I'll be sending you by email the recorded session, and I will also share with you some PDF files and some short video tutorials on how to create the tests and surveys on Blackboard. And I hope to see you on the next 30-minute Blackboard webinar. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.